Allora iniziamo. Eccellenze,
Will we begin now?
religiosi, care amiche,
Your Excellencies, dear friends,
grazie di cuore per essere
we thank
con noi
you
questa sera.
for being with us this
In
evening.
modo particolare Monsignor Leopoldo Girelli, nunzio e delegato apostolico a Gerusalemme. Grazie per essere
We
con
would
noi.
like to welcome Archbishop Leopoldo Girelli, Nuncio and Apostolic Delegate to Jerusalem, and also Bishop Marcuzzo, our Vicar General of the Latin Patriarchate of
Silvia
Jerusalem.
Porta e Christian da Silva, che sono i delegati
We would also like to
dell'Opera di
greet
Maria, Movimento dei
Silvia
Focolari
Porta
per il
and
Medio
Christian
Oriente,
di Silva,
sono con noi.
who are the delegates of the Focolari movement in the Middle East.
Ci presentiamo brevemente, io sono Claudio.
I would like to present, I am
Vivo
Claudio.
da 15 anni a Gerusalemme.
Io sono Terese, sono da Haifa e vivo a Gerusalemme.
Viviamo giorni particolari per via dell'emergenza globale dovuta
We are
alla
living
pandemia del coronavirus.
unusual days due to this
E
global
anche il
emergency
programma di questa
caused by
sera
the spreading
ha
of the
risentito in modo
coronavirus.
particolare perché abbiamo voluto attenerci
Also,
con
the program this
responsabilità
evening has
alle
undergone changes
indicazioni che sono arrivate dalle
prompted
autorità
by
competenti.
the desire on
Ministero
the
della
part of
Salute
the authorities
Per questo
to limit
gli
the spread of
ospiti
the
che
virus, of
aspettavamo
course,
dall'estero
and so
non
we have
possono
wished to
essere
comply
fisicamente
with the
presenti
latest
con noi oggi,
instructions imparted by
però
the
saranno lo
Ministry of
stesso con
Health.
noi perché ci hanno mandato
For this
degli
reason, our
interventi
guests
video
who was
che
foreseen they
vedremo
would
via
be coming
lungo il
from
programma.
out of the country will no longer be physically
Inoltre,
present
ci
with
stanno
us
seguendo
this
via
evening,
streaming,
but they are
perché, come avete
with us.
capito,
They are watching by
questa
live
serata
streaming,
è trasmessa in
and
diretta
they
via
will
streaming
also
e si
present
può
in the course of the program this
seguire,
evening.
oltre che in italiano, anche in inglese e in arabo. Ringraziamo il Christian Media Center
Furthermore, we will
e
be
l'ufficio
doing
comunicazione del
direct
Movimento dei
streaming
Focolari che hanno lavorato
of
intensamente
this
per dare questa
inauguration that's
possibilità di dire.
transmitted in
E
Italian
anche
with translations in
rivolgiamo
English
un
and Arabic.
saluto caloroso
We really
a
thank
chi
the
ci
Christian
sta
Media
seguendo,
Center, the
da
official
casa o
communication
dai
of the
vari
Focolari
ascolti.
movement,
Sappiamo
and the
che nel
Centro
mondo
Chiara
sono tanti
Lubich,
quelli che
the
sono
Chiara
collegati
Lubich
con
Centre,
noi in questo momento.
all who have worked
Un saluto
intensely for
caloroso
this
a
day
ciascuno.
to make it possible.
La mostra che oggi inauguriamo si inserisce nel quadro delle celebrazioni per il
The exhibition that today we are inaugurating is inserted in a series of celebrations for the 100th anniversary of the birth of Chiara Lubich, founder of the Focolari movement.
in varie parti del mondo per
Many
celebrare questo
undertakings, many
anniversario.
efforts are underway in these months all over the world to celebrate the anniversary.
Appuntamenti
There are
artistici,
conferences, academic
manifestazioni di
events,
carattere popolare.
artistic presentations.
Tra queste iniziative
But among
c'è
these
la mostra
initiatives is
Chiara
also
Lubich Città
the
Mondo,
exhibition entitled Chiara
ideata e
Lubich
realizzata
City
in
World.
collaborazione della
It
Fondazione
was conceived
Museo
and
Storico
carried out in
del
collaboration with the
e del
Historical
Centro
Foundation
Chiara
Museum
Lubich
of
e
Trentino and the
attualmente
Center
in corso
Chiara
aperto
Lubich,
presso
Centro
lo
Chiara
spazio
Lubich.
espositivo
And
delle
currently
gallerie
this
di
exhibition is
Castello.
in course, is underway in
La
Trent,
mostra che oggi
in the
qui
exposition hall
inauguriamo
of the
la
Piede
ripropone in un
Castello
formato
Galleries.
ridotto e adattato.
The exhibition we
Abbiamo
are
accolto con gioia
inaugurating
la
today
proposta di
is a
ospitare
reproduction
qui a
of this
Gerusalemme
exhibit
la mostra di
in an
Chiara.
adapted format.
E abbiamo lavorato con passione perché questa idea si potesse realizzare. Ringraziamo di cuore i frati della Custodia di Terra Santa, in particolare
We are welcoming with great joy the proposal. We welcomed with great joy the proposal to host here in Jerusalem this exhibition from Trent, and we have worked with enthusiasm, with passion, that this idea might be fulfilled. And we thank with all our heart our brothers from the custody of the Holy Land, in particular the Padre Custos, Padre Francesco Patton, and the responsible, Padre Stefane Milovic, from the Office of Culture, for their efforts. Without them, this evening would not have been possible.
Questa sera, questa mostra, siamo anche lieti di accogliere Sua Eccellenza, rappresentante del Patriarcato greco-ortodosso, siriaco-ortodosso. Noi, come frati minori, abbiamo celebrato 800 anni di presenza in Terra Santa e vogliamo essere proprio a servizio della Chiesa cattolica.
Excuse the delay.
Per questo siamo proprio lieti di
The
accogliervi.
representative from the Franciscan, I'm sorry I can't see the name,
Anche voi avete un carisma
is
un po' simile
grateful
al
for
nostro.
being able to participate in this occasion.
Bello di vedere che questa sera sono presenti in modo trasversale tante persone di tanti ambiti della Chiesa cattolica e Chiesa in genere, che si trova in Terra Santa, suore di varie congregazioni, gente impegnati in vari settori di questa Chiesa.
Forgive the delay
Quindi
from the audio.
vedo che voi siete anche presenti in modo
I
fecondo
see that
in tanti ambiti di questa Chiesa di
this
Gerusalemme.
exhibition is being
Quindi, sotto quel
presented in
modo,
many places.
abbiamo qualche cosa in comune, quindi
And
sono
we're happy to share something in common.
in questa sera. Il Terra
Also,
Santa
this
Museo,
evening,
come la Custodia di Terra Santa, vuole
here in the
essere
Holy
al servizio
Land.
della Chiesa e quindi siamo doppiamente lieti di accogliervi. Io mi auguro che fra 7 secoli, quando anche voi celebrerete 800 anni di presenza, magari qui, che voi festeggerete il vostro compleanno, noi festeggeremo il nostro 15° e
Forgive
speriamo
the delay, there's obviously technical problems going on.
avremo potuto fare insieme a servizio della Chiesa.
They're happy to be at the service of the church here, also sharing in this event today.
Ci ritroveremo proprio, forse non noi personalmente.
We will find each other, perhaps not
La decisione di portare qui a Gerusalemme la mostra Chiara
and
Lubich
bringing the
Mondo
exhibition
nasce
here.
innanzitutto dal desiderio di creare anche qui l'occasione per conoscere più profondamente la vita di Chiara, la sua spiritualità.
So the decision to bring here this exhibition, Chiara Lubich City World, was born not only from the desire to create an occasion to know more deeply Chiara, the person of Chiara, but also to bear witness to the profound relationship which linked Chiara to the city of Jerusalem. The exhibition will explore this more in depth, as we shall see later. In reality, Chiara was in Jerusalem only once, and just for a few days, back in 1956, when the Focolari was under study at its beginnings. And yet it was a trip that left a profound impact in her.
Come testimoniano alcune pagine che Chiara ci ha lasciato, dove rievoca l'esperienza vissuta in quei giorni. E da quei giorni è nata poi una storia che via via si è sviluppata ed è arrivata fino a oggi.
In reality, our Chiara was in Jerusalem just for a few days back in 56. But that left a profound impact on her, this visit, as we can see in some of the pages which she left us, in which she wrote of her experience. And from that trip began a story that was developed over the years and continues to develop here in the Holy Land. In fact, there are persons who have received the spirituality of Chiara and they live it. There arose in those days, back in 1956, a dream in Chiara. It is a dream which she never abandoned, and which has its place precisely here in Jerusalem, a place where Jesus prayed to the Father that all may be one. They would like to have a place to bear witness that unity is possible, notwithstanding all the differences of belief and culture, and beyond the divisions that are etched by history. This dream, it's an intuition that little by little has taken shape, taken form in the project of a Center for Unity and Peace. The project we've been working on for many years, notwithstanding many difficulties, but it goes ahead and we hope to carry it out. One section of the exhibition will present the Center for Unity and Peace. This exhibition and all the undertakings arising throughout the world do not want us to celebrate the anniversary of Chiara's birth 100 years ago. They all have a common denominator because they want to be not just a commemoration of the past, but an occasion to encounter this current of life, this new life from the charism of unity that Chiara received, that she lived and she spread. So much so that it reached many persons of numerous peoples and cultures. As Maria Voce, president of the Focolari movement today, said in the opening of the exhibition in Trent this past December 7th, she said men and women, young and old, rich and poor, married and not married, priests and bishops, Christians of the most varied churches, members of other churches, members of other religions, men of different conditions. They found a person in Chiara who was trustworthy, someone with whom one could speak, with a heart that was open, a light that indicated paths to follow, which would enable all to help be builders of a new humanity in order to make of all peoples one family. So we want to celebrate, to meet, to encounter, therefore. And this is the motto which the movement wished to present on this anniversary, to encounter Chiara today, to discover the actuality of her charism, one that is a message of brotherhood, of unity, of communion for all. The curators of this exhibition, Chiara Lubich City World, are Maurizio Gentilini, who is entrusted with the Historical Foundation Museum of Trentino, and Anna Maria Rossi and Giuliano Rusier from the Centro Chiara Lubich, which is at the headquarters in Rocca di Papa near Rome. But not being able to be present personally, Anna Maria Rossi and Giuliano Rossi yesterday prepared for us a video which would enable them to introduce us to the exhibition. And now we will see this. Good evening, ciao to everyone. We are Giuliano Rusier and Anna Maria Rossi, and together with Maurizio Gentilini, we are the curators of the exhibition, which was presented in Trent on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the birth of Chiara Lubich. Trento, as you know, is a small city in northern Italy, and unfortunately, it is not possible, as you know, for us to be present there with you for this unforeseen event of the virus. However, we wish to present to you a different kind of gift. We thought perhaps to present our exhibition directly from the Centro Chiara Lubich, from Rocca di Papa, where all the documents and images, the archive, is contained, from which we have drawn the materials in order to present the exhibition. The original exhibit opened in Trent, the native city of Chiara, and this exhibit is entitled, as you well know, the Chiara Lubich City World. From the beginning, we were saying we did not want to present a project that was limited to the city of Trent, but as was the life of Chiara, we wanted to open its horizons to the ends of the earth, taking in all the 5 continents. The same exhibition in Trent has been adapted to reflect the different cultural and social realities in the various cities which will be hosting it, such as Jerusalem. Also, it will be in Algeria, the city of Mexico, Sao Paulo, Nairobi, Sydney, and Mumbai. So we welcome you into the Centro Chiara Lubich, and we will then show you something of the exhibition in Jerusalem. We welcome you here to the Chiara Lubich Centre at the headquarters of Rocca di Papa. But in reality, we are really there with you for the inauguration of this exhibition, which has its origin in Trent, in collaboration with the Historical Foundation Museum of Trentino, which collaborated also for the many different exhibitions in the world. But yours is the first one to take place outside of Trent, and we wish you with great joy and that you have much joy yourselves and much participation, so that Chiara might truly be encountered also there in Jerusalem. Good morning to everyone. I am called João Manuel. I work together here with Alba. I am from the Centro Chiara Lubich. I'm Brazilian, and I come exactly from the city of São Paulo, where also will be one of the cities hosting this exhibition. And an interesting thing is that these exhibitions, as they are distributed throughout the world, they always have a particular focus that takes into consideration the characteristics of the host city, drawing from the events of Chiara's lives, from the life of Chiara Lubich. And so we are with great anticipation and our warmest best wishes for this exhibition in Jerusalem, that it might go very well, and we are sure that it will. Thank you. In the exposition of all of these images and faces and these eyes that we will encounter, we perhaps may recognize ourselves, and also in the testimonies that will be given of their individual encounters with Chiara, you might find your own experience. In the very last panel, you will find an answer that she has given, where she comments on this response on her part, that she finds herself to be only an instrument in the hands of God. And so now we enter into the exhibition. We see her in her family, a very simple family, but very united, sustained by solid or profound values. And following a chronological progress, we see images of Chiara as she was in elementary school, then in high school, and then when she obtained her diploma to become an elementary school teacher. And she began to teach in the different schools in the Valley of Trent, and concluded in a school for orphans in a suburb of Trent called the Opera Serafica. And then we see pictures, images that are very strong, very intense, because it was an intense period. It was the Second World War, and Trent was heavily bombarded. The chronological sequence then moves from 1920 to 1948 in this period. And particularly significant is December 7th, 1943, the day in which Chiara gives herself to God forever. She remembered that morning as being the cold of winter, and as the day that she had married God. She would say, in fact, I married God. Thinking of that day, she said she had the impression that behind her shoulders a bridge collapsed. And here we see a picture. The original is here, where it's conserved in the Centro Chiara Lubich, but it will be represented also in your exhibition. And we see, I'd like to note two characteristics of this. The uninterrupted pathway behind the shoulders of this girl, which suggests this image of the bridge that will collapse behind her, spiritually speaking, so as to open a new pathway for Chiara to follow God totally. And here we see in this little basket 3 flowers that represent the 3 red carnations Chiara brought home to bring to the crucifix in her bedroom, a sign of their celebration. Chiara naturally wasn't alone. She had her companions, her first companions, and what animated the life of these persons? The gospel. They were terrible years under the bombardments of the Second World War, because they really heavily struck Trent. And yet there was this discovery, God loves us. God loves me immensely. And how can one return love? How can one love back this love? Trying to put into practice his words. And as the alarms went off and the air raid shelters were filled with people, they couldn't bring with them anything. But one day Chiara slipped into her pocket a little gospel. a little copy of the Gospels, and there they read them, and the words, read by candlelight, one by one, seemed to light up. They became words of life. This was then the new guidebook for this little community that little by little developed and grew. Chiara's house was damaged heavily by the war, so she transferred into a little tiny apartment in Piazza Cappuccini, number 2, and together with several of her first companions, and thus was born the Focolari. We'll find 3 panels, different images of them, different faces, and yes, it is really, these are the first persons that formed the living stones of this new form of dwelling together, of this new reality. And among these was Igino Giordani. In reality, Chiara had already met Giordani in the Italian Parliament in Rome back in 1948. And now we are at another section in an office, and this picture behind my shoulders was painted by Chiara. It represents nature, a nature that in 1949, thanks to a particular illumination, presented itself as though permeating all, permeated by the love of God. Chiara remembered that period as a period truly of paradise, a period of light. So after this first section, which Giuliano explained that presented the life of Chiara in her youth, we pass to a second section in which we wish to represent Chiara's thought, the experience of Chiara that she had during her life in Trent, and especially in those moments that were fundamental, in which Giuliano spoke of 1949, that took place up in Fiera di Primero, that period of great light. Chiara produced a vast array of writings, and of these we chose only 4. Perhaps the centerpiece would be the one entitled, I Have But One Spouse on Earth. You'll see this depicted in her handwriting. The original document is contained here in the Centro Santa Chiara. It speaks of the choice of Jesus forsaken as her only spouse. And this brought about a new phase in Chiara's life. Then, in 1949, came another writing entitled Resurrection of Rome, which is, practically speaking, the choice of Jesus forsaken applied to this social life, in which Chiara found herself immersed in her return to Rome. The writings in 1958 include The Attraction of Modern Times and A City is Not Enough. In the second one, we enter into another section. The last part of our little tour, we find ourselves in the hall of Centro Chiara Lubich, which gathers all the material, the gifts, the awards, the medallions that were awarded to Chiara, the documents. She wished to gather them together, not for herself, to put herself in light, but rather to highlight how many recognitions the charism she represented we had received. For all of this pathway of the exhibition, we wish to enable a direct relationship between Chiara and the person looking at the panels. And for this we find in this last part of her public life, the second part of her life, many of her writings. Chiara lived by going through the pathways, the streets of the world. And so we wanted to have her words be the guide to the visitor in such a way that they could enter into a direct relationship with her. As we said earlier, these texts that are fundamental, foundational, they represent really a luminous point, and not only of the exhibition, but principally of the life of Chiara. Like a white light passes through a prism, and is reflected in 7 different colors of the rainbow. In the same way, this charismatic light, this idea that was new, brought new realizations, opened up new pathways in the different fields and arenas of life today, of that of the economic, of cultural life, in the relationships with persons of different faiths. 360-degree openness to persons with no particular religious, also with relationship with nature, and also in the field of the innate desire to communicate. In this room here, we see all the awards, the recognitions, that the contribution that the charism has given to the social life, to humanity, not so much to Chiara personally, but they bear witness to the value of this work, of these gifts. I see in front of me these gifts, these recognitions coming from the Jewish community in Argentina. I see here another one for the award of art granted by Hollywood, and many different degrees honoris causa in the different disciplines of ecology, psychology, theology, sociology, and many others. Good. Well then, we will conclude our little visit here at the Centro Chiara Lubich, but the exhibition awaits you, visitors, in the Custodial of the Holy Land, a section that is dedicated in a particular way to Chiaras in the Holy Land. In the beginning, I mentioned this photograph. There are others, and there's a beautiful documentary of Chiara's trip to the Holy Land that was made in 1956. But it's not just the past, it's the present and also the future. Because the International Center for Unity and Peace is what is to come to life. And with this sign of hope and this great project, which draws in especially you all present, concludes the exhibition. And what can we say at this point? We hope to be able to come soon and to bring you our greetings in person, but we send you our affection, our gratitude. In the meantime, we greet you like this from Rome, and we bring also many greetings on the part of Maurizio Gentilini and all of us here. Arrivederci, ciao. Now we would like to read the letter which arrived from the Rome, from Alba Squadriglia and João Manuel Mota, who are the directors, also the director of the Historical Foundation Museum, Giuseppe Ferrandi. They write, on the occasion of the inauguration of the exhibit, Chiara Lubich City World, in the city of Jerusalem. We write as the Center Chiara Lubich and the Foundation of the Historical Museum of Trentino. We wish to express our warmest participation and our warmest wishes that this event be an occasion of encounter with this illustrious Trentina, who throughout her entire life, in a tireless commitment, overcame every barrier, and she tirelessly promoted the values of dialogue, of solidarity, and of fraternity. We send a heartfelt thank you to all the community of the Focolari in the Holy Land and to the custody of the Holy Land for having received, promoted, and contributed to building this exhibition, which is part of a project that sees the fulfillment of a network of expositions throughout the world to bear witness to the special bond that Chiara Lubich always felt with Jerusalem, the city which represents in the world the dream of peace among peoples, cultures, and religions. Beyond every distance, we are with you in this moment of joy. Maria Voce, during the inauguration of the exhibition in Trent, she wished to express the gratitude of the entire Focolari movement to the city of Trent for having, and these are the words of Maria Voce, for having accompanied, sustained Chiara in her growth, in her studies, in her formation. And thank you too, she said, for the care for the harmony and nature of Trentino, the beauty of which often formed the background of her deepest inspirations. And we too want to unite ourselves to this thank you to the city of Trent. We are particularly pleased and honored to have the words of Maurizio Fugatti, who is president of the autonomous province of Trent. We are grateful to have his brief words, which we will now transmit. A greeting to all the participants in this important anniversary of Chiara Lubich. Unfortunately, for reasons which you easily understand, linked to the health questions, where I'm not able to participate in this important event. I had it on my calendar. It was all organized. We would have come with great enthusiasm, with a great desire to bring this beautiful message that Chiara Lubich has given to Trent, to Italy, to the world through her work. Therefore, to all of you, we send you our warmest, best wishes, good work, and we hope it is a useful reflection on the message Chiara gave throughout her work, living precisely here from Trent, particularly here from this Valley of Trent, a woman from Trent, from the Valley of Trent. She was able to carry out this great work, which we can say is a miracle, because it's not every day a woman from Trent is able to carry this out. So, good working from Trent. We are certain that your actions, your activity will have a great value for your territory, for Italy as well, but also for all those places in the world where Chiara sent her message. And so we feel it's particularly beautiful that an exhibit dedicated to Chiara could be hosted here in Jerusalem, in the heart of the custody of the Holy Land, of the Friars Minor. The relationship of Chiara with the charism of St. Francis is very profound. As noted, Chiara was in her youth a third order Franciscan. In baptism, she was named Sylvia, but she assumed the name Chiara because she was fascinated by the evangelical life of Chiara of Assisi. It is a relationship which has continued throughout the years, and there are countless religious Franciscans who, remaining faithful to the charism of their founder, have nevertheless welcomed, lived, and spread the spirituality of unity. Something that is particularly interesting is that Chiara came to Jerusalem in 1956 to meet a Franciscan friar who was then at the service of the custody of the Holy Land here. His name, Padre Andrea Balbo, Padre Novo, as Chiara would call him. He was for many years a very close collaborator with Chiara, close to her all the way to the end. And so we are very happy to listen to Padre Francesco Patton, who, among others, is a citizen of Chiara, he too, originally from Trent. Padre Francesco returned from Italy yesterday, and he is here, close by. He is following us, but he cannot be physically present with us. And so we would like to see a short video he filmed for us. Excellence, guests, friends, may the Lord give you peace. I am sorry to give my greetings through this video. Having returned from Italy, I am sorry to give my greetings to you only now returning from Italy. I am not able to be physically present. I'm not able to be physically present, but I am a citizen of Trent, and I just returned from there. When I was young, when she was young, she received her original intuitions from there, and they came out during a war. Our city was bombed by the Allied forces, causing hundreds of deaths. My mother told me about these bombings because during one of them, she had gone to a sanctuary of one of the Madonnas, and I knew, and I too have heard of these bombardments from the ex-provincial and how they struck very populated areas. And for 3 days, they did nothing but draw forth and bury those who had died. As one said, the odor of death is something will never pass. In this context, Chiara had the experience that everything and truly does collapse. Everything passes, and Jesus Christ abandoned will never, however, he will never die, never crumble. It's a mystical experience of the Christian life. And in that moment, Sylvia, who was only 21 years old, took the name of Chiara in the moment of her profession, and she could repeat with San Paolo and San Francesco, I know Christ, poor and crucified. And this is the experience that Chiara perceived in the cry of the crucified one who was abandoned. It is the cry of the many crucified ones, abandoned ones, in her time, in our time. There is a second profound intuition that Chiara matured, and that of the spirituality of unity and the presence and prayer of Jesus, uniting with his disciples to draw in all humanity. The chapter 17 of St. John, with the solemn prayer, Father, that for unity, when he prays for the sanctification of his disciples, becomes an integral part of her spirituality and of her spiritual proposal. And this is a special text, especially pleasing also to Saint Francis, that he too wrote about. The saint of brotherhood is also the saint of unity. And he perceived that unity is possible because Jesus prayed the Father for this. And if we too allow ourselves to draw ourselves close to him who raised himself up on the cross. Also Chiara of Assisi, from whom Chiara took the name, insists greatly on this theme of unity. In her rule, she encourages her sisters. She called it holy unity. My lifetime, I have met Chiara during one of her visits to Trent. I met her especially through several brothers who had adhered to her spirituality. One was Padre Eldino Santino, my novice master, and also Pizzaballa, Padre Pizzaballa, and Eugenio. So Padre Archivescovo Pizzaballa had also been in the novice master. In this correspondence of Chiara Lubich, I have read, I'm very happy that the Custody of the Holy Land might be able to host this exhibition on the 100th anniversary of Chiara Lubich, and I am happy that she is presented in the Holy Land through those who adhere to the spirituality, and I'm even happier that she can remind us in a time such as ours, in a land such as ours, the value of unity, fruit of the prayer, still actual, of Jesus, he who experienced the abandonment, so that none of us might feel any longer alone or abandoned. Thank you to all present, and I hope you enjoy the exhibition. Before going to the opening of the exhibition, we will have an interval of music. Yasmin Sabara will present it.
Eseguirà per noi il preludio.
She'll give the prelude of Bach. So we have reached the conclusion of this part of the program, and we are drawing near the moment of the official opening of the exhibition, Chiara Lubich City World. And we would ask His Excellency Archbishop Tirelli if he might cut the ribbon for us. But before this step, we would like to mention that the exhibition will remain open to the public for 2 weeks, from Monday to Saturday, from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 in the evening. For all who might desire, there is the possibility to organize guided visits in different languages. We suggest that for those who are interested, might take our email address or telephone number that you will find on the brochure. We remember also there's the day of the conclusion of the exhibition. It will be Saturday, March 14th, and at 5:30 in the evening in the Immaculata Hall here nearby. There will be an evening dedicated to Chiara. Several aspects of her person, of her spirituality of unity, will be presented, with particular attention given to the contribution that Chiara has given to the ecumenical journey of the different Christian churches. In a moment, we will have to leave this hallway, exiting from the door in the back. But before rising, we would like first to thank those who have worked intensely for several days for the erection of this exhibition. I will read so as not to forget anyone. In particular, we'd like to thank the staff of the official translations of the Focolari movement who are following this by streaming. Anton Balut, who has taken care of translations in Arabic. The technical office of the Custodial of the Holy Land, and also the workers, the printers, Copy Color, Jerusalem, and George Kitane Aluminum as well. And we thank those who have made this program possible, in particular the translators, the technical equipe, Mariam and Anna Maria, the technical equipment, audio, the technical team that covered the audio, the video, the picture, the photographer. And also we want to thank warmly the Christian Media Center, as well as the Movements of Communications Office, which made possible the live direct streaming of this moment together. Thank you to each one of you. Now, several indications so as how to reach the exhibit. I would ask if we could let the kindness to let Archbishop Girelli and the first 2 rows exit first, so they might draw near to the ribbon. And then the visit to the exhibit will follow. And as you can see, the pathway is a little narrow, but I'm sure that we'll be able to follow the pathway. And the last recommendation is to return the little radios to their home, to the where you pick them up. After the visit, there is a small reception for all. Thank you very much, and we continue. And thank you with all our hearts. I've been asked to say a few words before cutting the ribbon, which opens the exhibition Chiara Lubich City World. And I asked myself, what does it mean to cut a ribbon? I think it has the meaning of entering into the memory. The exhibit suggests, in this case, the presents the history of Chiara Lubich, her message, her spirituality. It's a living memory because it makes alive her message and makes alive this person in these images. It's in our Christian faith, we say, do this in memory of me. It's a sacrament which makes present our Lord. And so the memory of Chiara brings, in a certain sense, makes sacred her time, her life, her experience, her message. And also, memory is a journey. Because to see an exhibition means to go through the various various images, an itinerary, like a pilgrimage. The theme of this is city world, and so we can say world city also. From the world we have arrived into the city par excellence, because it is the holy city of unity, of brotherhood, the city of dialogue between different religions and different experiences, different persons, different populations too. And so it's a very actual, current message that Chiara gives us through this exhibition, which today we are going to go through and know. And I thank with all my heart the Focolari movement of Jerusalem for this effort, and I thank also the Custody for having welcomed and presented it to all a good passing through the exhibit. I wish you.